This is Rockin' with Jam Man. It's with Roger Earl from Foghat. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really, really well. It's a beautiful sunny day out here on Long Island. And as I just mentioned a minute or so ago, I'm getting all my fishing tackle together, putting line on my reels that needed it, just making sure everything functions, because you don't want to catch a large striped bass and the line breaks or the hook comes out. Yeah, that's happened. But there again, that's why we go fishing. Do you fish?
Uh, yes, I went to a fishing derby one time. I was one
Yeah.
of the champions, actually. I got this ginormous catfish. Like, it was like around like almost 1 feet.
Wow. And in a second.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. A catfish, eh? How big was it?
Like, around like 1 feet, actually.
Oh, all right. It's I caught a 30-pound catfish a couple of years back. We have a studio down in DeLand, Florida, and I was fishing in one of the local rivers. Actually, it's a big lake. It's also a river, and I caught about a 30-pounder. That was I thought I'd hooked an alligator or something. The thing went.
The only problem with the catfish is that I got poison ivy because of it. Because there was a poison ivy plant right by it when I was fishing, and I touched it.
Yeah, I've had that stuff, poison ivy, poison sumac. I blew up like a balloon. I had to play that night as well.
Oh, that has to suck.
Yeah. It does suck. Yeah, I was all red and blotchy. The rest of the band thought it was rather funny. I didn't think it was funny, but hey, so if you just got to go out and like do stuff. You can't just sit around waiting to play. Yeah, I try to stay busy. I walk. I rode. Actually, I rode my bike again for the first time last week. I walk. I used to run a lot, but I can't run anymore because my knees aren't quite up to it. But I ran all my life up until about 20 years ago. Playing drums, you have to stay fit, because there's a mechanical side of playing drums. It's physical as well as
Wow.
Yeah, right. But I didn't hit anything, did I?
No, you did not.
The idea is to hit drums and cymbals, but it's yeah. I mean, I practiced even when we had the nightmare, the COVID nightmare. We were out of work or didn't play, I should say, for about a year and a half, nearly 2 years. So just like the rest of the world, everything stopped. That was kind of rough, but in other ways, it was also okay for me. I'm 75. I'm going to be 76 next month, but I haven't had a year and a half off, nearly 2 years off since I don't remember. So I went fishing. I grew a whole bunch of vegetables in my garden, which I got to eat instead of the deer and the rabbits. No, you can't. I don't want to shoot them.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I got to catch fish off my back porch. It was. I had a great time. Nobody could come and see us because it was pretty horrific, and I know a lot of people really suffered. But it was like my first vacation, forced vacation. But I did miss playing. I missed hanging out with the band and doing stuff. So yeah, you're in Tonawanda.
Yeah, and you're playing here on Saturday, right?
Yeah, where are we playing? Where are we playing in Tonawanda?
Revere Theater.
I knew that, the Riviera Theater.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
That will be fun. We'll be doing all our hits. Have you heard any of our stuff?
Of course. Slow ride. Take it easy. Yeah.
That's one. And there's Stone Blue. I Just Want to Make Love to You. We did have one ballad that was a hit called Third Time Lucky. Actually, we don't like to term it as a ballad. It's a slow rocker. Yeah, I'm one of those fortunate few in this world that gets to earn a decent living at something I really enjoy. What do you want to do when you're earning a living, or are you earning a living now?
I'm doing my job right now.
Yeah. Do you get paid for this?
No, I started.
No, that's a sin.
Yeah, I know. It really is. I've done all these famous interviews and I got not a single dime.
Not a dime. But there again, you are collecting some pluses. A number of people said, you're going to talk to a 10-year-old kid. And I said, I'm okay with that. And then I thought about it. I said, what does he know? But then I sort of read your bio. Yeah, you've talked to a lot of people. So you enjoy this, right?
Yes, I do. I do.
Good. Yeah. I'll try to be careful with my language. Is mum and dad around?
My dad is around.
Yeah. Okay. Does he supports this? Does he?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Good. Have you ever thought about playing any instruments yourself?
I do actually play the drums in band.
Yeah, I knew you were okay.
Yeah, but I'm also playing the guitar.
You play guitar as well?
Yeah, and I'm also trying to take vocal lessons too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So Dave sounds like Dave Grohl in the making.
Yeah.
How about the Foo Fighters? You like the Foo Fighters?
Yes.
Yeah, great band. Great band.
It's sad about Taylor, what happened to the drummer.
That was tragic. I actually met Taylor a couple of times. We were doing a show out in the desert in California. It was called the Lost Highway Festival. And Taylor was the one who actually got us on there. He was up with this other band called Chevy Metal. And he and Dave Grohl were supposed, fans of Foghat. And I met him just before the show. And I said, you want to come up and play on the end of Slow Ride? Because, where it sort of picks up and it just gets faster and faster and faster. And he said, no, that's all right. And I said, no, come on up. And he said, no, that's all right. So we get to Slow Ride and he's standing on the side of the stage and I say, come on. And he goes, no. So I throw a drumstick to him. He catches it. And then I go, I've only got one.
I need my actual one. Come on.
So he came out. It was really cool. And then we hung out for a little while afterwards. Yeah, it was. It's absolutely tragic because he was such a cool guy, a great singer, great drummer. And I just feel for the rest of the band, especially Dave. He lost the singer in his other band. This is just going to be a tragedy because you could tell by the way they talked to each other, how close they were to each other and how much they meant to each other. And this also the sad part for me personally was I was really looking forward to seeing him again and hanging out with him and playing. Yeah, it's sad. We've all got to go sometime, but a young man of 50, like in his prime, yeah, it was tragic. It was very sad. Maybe we'll change the subject and talk about something else. Let's talk about life, shall we?
Yeah. Let's not try to get each other sad.
No, there's enough of that out there.
So Foghat started as a rock band in the 70s. Now you're a rocker in the 70s. How does that feel, eh? 70s, eh?
Yeah, actually feels good. Like I try and stay fit and healthy, like I said, because playing drums, you need to be sort of physically okay. Certainly playing in a rock band, anyway. Playing is fun. I really get paid for traveling. Traveling is like hurry up and wait. You're sitting in airports, you're sitting on planes, sitting in cars, sit here, sit there. The best part about what I do is my hour and a half when we get to play. That's what we all do it for. Trouble is with musicians, we probably do it for free. You want to come and play? Yeah, no problem. But we get paid for traveling. That's how I put it. because everything is hurry up and wait, and then you're standing around. You know, if you put your drums or guitar on the plane and the plane's just left, there's always an issue. But I play in a great band. The guys are terrific. We're good friends. We hang out together. In fact, we've already started working on a new studio album. We have a studio down in DeLand, Florida, and it's yeah, I love what I do. I'm one of those fortunate few in this world who gets doing a decent living as something I enjoy doing.
I get what you mean, man, about like how it's basically you're getting paid for traveling a little bit. It's just the only problem is as soon as you get there, you got to go back. You already got to go to another place. You get there, you're all tired up, and then what are you guys doing? Get on the plane. We got to go.
Right. It's okay. It comes with the territory. It's careful what you wish for. You know, I mean, I started playing when I started taking drum lessons when I was 12 or 13, around that time. In fact, I would work after school. I used to work 3 days a week after school, getting people to sort of buy letterheading, you know, for letters and stuff like that. And Saturday mornings, I would work in a bakery. So I had my own money. My parents weren't rich, but I had really cool parents. My mother and father were really cool. There was always music in the house. My dad played piano. And it was, they were very supportive of what we wanted to do. Actually, I was 12 years old and I said to Dad, Dad, I want to buy a motorbike. Can you help me? And he said, well, not helping you with that, son. Oh, well, I want a drum kit then. He said, I have a friend who's a drum teacher. So I was introduced to my drum teacher. What's his name? It will come to me eventually. Actually, it was the same drum teacher that the drummer with the Kinks had, Mick Avery, and a few other drummers as well that became famous. Chris Hayes, I think that was his name, something like that. But yeah, do you take drum lessons?
Yes, from my drum teacher or the band director. He teaches us some things.
Okay. Oh, cool. And you enjoy it?
Yes, it's fun. It's pretty good, you know. The only problem, everybody calls us, oh my God, everybody be so dramatic. As soon as we play, like, oh yeah, drums, you killed me. You killed my eardrums. It's a homicide in my ear right now.
Well, there is a downside to playing drums, and I would recommend that you wear some kind of ear protection. I'm deaf. If I don't have hearing aids in, I'm not totally deaf, but conversations become somewhat challenging, interesting, sometimes very humorous, because you'll give the wrong answer to a very simple question like, hello, what? So I would recommend that you protect your ears and put some kind of, and also because drums are pretty piercing, and cymbals, protect your hearing along with your eyes. They're probably a couple of your most precious gifts. There you are. Uncle Roger's giving you some advice.
Yeah, gotta take it, you know?
Yeah, take care of your ears and your eyes. They're precious gifts.
All right. When you first started out over 50 years ago, did you think you would be still rock and rolling in your 70s?
You know what? I think when you're a teenager and just starting out, you don't think about what it's like to be old. You're too busy with what you're doing at the time, playing drums, learning how to play. Especially when I was growing up, for me, it was a really cool time to be into music, because, you know, when an album would come out or you get an album, you would sit around with your friends in the living room and crank it up and, you know, get into it. Whereas I think a lot of young people today listen to music on their own and not sharing it with other people. Everybody's got their buds on or cans on, but hey, different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah. Get you, man.
Yeah.
Different folks, different strokes. I get you.
That's right.
Tell me your secret to longevity. in the music industry? Longevity.
Longevity
Yeah.
in the music industry is being in the right place at the right time, following your own ideals and passion. I've always been passionate about rock and roll, blues. I mean, that's what I grew up listening to. I grew up listening to, like, you know, early rock and roll, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, then discovered Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, and that music just reached me. It had, for me, it had, it's like, it was honest music to me, though I could not always understand the lyrics or what they meant. But as you got older, you sort of pick up on that. But there was just something about rock and roll music and blues and jazz as well that reached me. And I think if you find a path, I guess what it is, you know, with music, follow it. My taste in music got a lot broader as I've got older. I appreciate lots of other stuff. You know, like the other day I was listening to Stefan Grappelli and Django Reinhardt, great jazz guitar player. You might want to check it out. I also love boogie woogie piano, like Mead Lux Lewis, stuff like that. But yeah, music. It's a wonderful business, because it is a business, but it's a wonderful thing to be involved in, because you're giving joy to people, and people come to see a Foghat show and they come to have a good time. The other day we played somewhere out in the Midwest. It was a beautiful theater. People started getting up after the third song and dancing, and there was a couple of ushers or security who tried to stop them, which is yeah, right. Well, they didn't want them sort of hurting themselves or something. I don't know. People want to dance. I mean, we'll be given legs, would we?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you do at a concert, basically. You're supposed to dance.
Want to move, want to groove.
Yeah. There had to be so many ups and downs throughout your career. What makes you still want to do this to this day?
Yeah, there have been some ups and downs. I love playing music. I love playing in this band. You know, I've lost all the original members other than myself, not with us any longer, but I play with great players and people who really are passionate about what they do. And I haven't lost my joy of playing. And I think that's important. I mean, I've seen some older bands, for want for a better word, who look like they're a little bored, or they don't have that passion. If I didn't enjoy it and feel passionate about playing, then I probably wouldn't do it. But there again, having said that, I'm not that good enough of a fisherman to feed the family. So.
Now, what has it been like watching all the changes in the industry?
I'd say that again.
How has it been like watching all the changes in the industry? How has it been like?
I don't know. Well, you know, that's life. I mean, it's just over 100 years ago, we weren't flying. Now we fly everywhere. And within the next 100 years, they'll have batteries will be powering planes and we'll go to the stars. But I won't be around to see that one. No, it's within the last 100 years, 150 years, the world has had real drama. And unfortunately, there's still some drama going on, but the world, it changes. So that's part of human nature. It's part of being here and what we're involved in.
You went from having to be in a studio to bands never have to be in the same countries, let alone the same room together.
Excuse my French, but that's pretty fucking weird. The whole joy, for me anyway, you know, our lead guitar player and producer Brian Bassett, he plays lead and slide guitar and who produces all that stuff and engineers everything. And one night we were sitting around after we'd finished playing. We were having a couple of glasses of wine with dinner, and he said, and this had the ring of truth for me. He said, playing music is like having a conversation, and that's what it is. Sometimes you're shouting, you raise your voice, but you know, or you're talking about something that's very important to you, and you have different opposing points of view, and then eventually you go down the middle with it. It's like having a conversation, except you're doing it with instruments, and I thought that was a pretty cool way to describe what it's like playing music with a band. Being in different rooms, I suppose that's okay. I personally like playing with a band in the room, in the studio, doing it live. You can overdub certain stuff, but that's something that Foghat has done right from the very beginning. I mean, there's certain tools you can use, like playing to a click track, stuff like that. You know, if you don't have all the arrangement worked out, or it's just not feasible, there, you know, there's stuff that you have to learn to do. But now playing in the same room with somebody, whether it's in the studio, whether it's live, that's the thrill for me anyway. That's what makes it all worthwhile. I still get chills before I, you know, sometimes when we first go on stage and, you know, you got 5,000 people or 500 people, you know, cheering for you, and there's a real excitement in the air. You know, it's plausible, and yeah, I think it's playing in separate rooms, and I've done that. In fact, I did it with a great guitar player over the pandemic horror show. I played drums on a John Lennon song, Imagine, with a few other sort of musicians. You know, I played to a click track. They sent me the click track and I played to that. But, you know, that's, yeah, the world has changed, but I just love playing live.
Yeah. You know, getting all the reaction, all the excitement, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And hearing stuff. It's like when there are mistakes. They're not really mistakes, they're opportunities.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah.
No, and you went from records to e-tracks to tapes to CDs, now digital. What do you think about everybody being digital? What do you think about that?
I still listen to CDs. It's something that I function with. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's how I listen to music, with a CD. You know, when I say, all right, make me a CD, and I sit down, put my cans on, and I play it. My record player is not working at the moment, so I haven't played any vinyl in a while, but maybe I'll put that to rights. I don't know. It's always going to change. I think the sad part about people, I think I've mentioned earlier, about people wandering around listening to music on their own. I always think that listening to music, when you're listening to with friends or with a whole crowd at a concert, you know, you're sharing something together. I think a lot of people miss out on that.
Yeah, I really do feel like a lot of people just miss out on that thing. Now, let's start at the beginning originally. You were in the band called Savoy Brown?
Savoy Brown.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. That wasn't my first band. Actually, my first band was a band called The Tramps. I started playing when I was 12 or 13. And a couple of people I went to school with, Dave Hutchins, who was the bass player, we were best friends. And Ray Dorset was the lead singer and guitar player. Ray Dorset went on to sing in a band called Mungo Jerry. They had a bunch of hits. My older brother, Colin, was in that band. So the first band I was in, I was 16 or 17. And we played up until I joined Savoy Brown when I was 20, 21. That was when I turned professional. Prior to that, I was a commercial artist. I left school when I was 15. I'd already done some commercial artwork. So you had to have a job because drums are not cheap and cymbals are very expensive.
Yeah, they sure are very expensive. My God. When I first got my thing. Yeah.
But it's music. I'm one of those fortunate few.
Is that how you met Lonesome Dave and Tony?
Yeah, when actually I met Dave when I joined Savoy Brown. In fact, I auditioned for Savoy Brown, myself and my friend Dave, the bass player. They were looking for a bass player and drummer, but we didn't get the first job. And then they called me up about a month later and said that you want to come and audition again. And I said, sure. I think the Bill Bruford was the drummer that they got, but apparently that didn't work out. So I went and played it again. I borrowed my father's car because I was working up in London as a commercial artist. Anyway, it was in Southwest London, South London actually, where the audition was. It was in a pub called, come to me later. And it was upstairs. Anyway, I took my drums upstairs and I played for like 2-3 hours with them. And then I started packing up my drums and started going downstairs. And they said, where are you going? I said, I'm going back to work. I have a day job. And they said, we're playing in Birmingham tonight. That was it. I didn't get paid for the first 6 weeks, but I kept turning up.
I heard you toured with Led Zeppelin. What was that like?
We did a number of days for Zeppelin. I hung out with Bonzo a few times. He was absolutely fantastic. Actually, interesting. This is when I was in Savoy Brown. And I remember a couple of sound checks. There was me, Bonzo, Savoy Brown, Led Zeppelin, and Jethro Tull. So Jethro Tull's drummer, myself, and Bonzo would play, and either Jimmy Page will be playing guitar, or Kim Simmons. Also, there was a violin player from another band we did some shows with. It's a Beautiful Day. It was great. Bonzo was an incredible drummer. He was absolutely brilliant. He was doing stuff that other drummers up to that point had never even imagined. He had an incredible foot. Apparently, I read somewhere that he had 2 bass drums. I never saw him doing that, but he made one bass drum sound like 3. Yeah, it was really cool. They were a great band.
What has been your favorite memory from them?
From what?
Of Led Zeppelin, like touring that tour.
I don't know that I have any favorite memories other than we would jam at sound checks. That was something. 3 drummers and a guitar player. That sounds about right. Yeah, and I hung out with Bonzo a few times. He was all right until he got too drunk, but he was a fantastic drummer.
At what point did you guys just decide to quit and start Foghat?
It was time for a change. Tony Stevens got fired. Myself and Dave were offered something. We were just hired musicians in Savoy Brown. We didn't get paid for making records or anything like that. And we said, all right, it's just time for a change. But we told Kim that we'd stay around until he put a new band together, and which we did. And in fact, I'm still good friends with Kim Simmons. He played on our last studio album. I remain friends with him. Great guitar player, and his singing is really terrific these days as well. Kim and I always got on real well. We were good friends. It was just time for a change. And we struggled for about the first year trying to get things done, but it worked out okay in the end.
What was your first major purchase when you guys started making money?
my first royalty check, publishing check, was $3,300. And I bought a 1967 Corvette 427 with tri-power and 4-speed, convertible, of course. And it was actually my check was for $3,000 and a few cents. And I found the car for sale out here on Long Island in the local deli, but they wanted $3,300. Anyway, I took it out for a drive, had just over 30,000 miles on it. This is in 1973, maybe 74. So the car was 6 years old. Yeah, 6 years old, 6.5. And I said, okay. And because I had a $3,000 check, I said, oh, all right, would you take $3,000? He said, no, 3,300. So I talked to our manager's wife, who was the assistant manager at a bank. And she said, first of all, Roger, you need to put the check in the bank. Do you know about these sort of things?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good. I didn't back then. I'd been a drummer all my life. So, and she said, and then you're going to need some money to pay for insurance, or if anything goes wrong with the car. So you're going to need to have at least $1,500 or another $2,000 on credit. And I said, okay. So I did that. I put the check in the bank. I went back to the deli and said, can I take it out for a drive again? I took it out for a drive again and gave him the check for $3,300. And that left me with $1,700 in the bank. That was my first big purchase. And what a great fucking car that was. It was a beast.
Yeah, man. Good for you, man. At least you got a wonderful car.
I've always been a car fan. My father, who also played piano, he was a panel fitter. He worked at Aston Martins in the 50s. You may have heard of what an Aston Martin was, if you're into cars at all. Anyway, a sports car, great sports car. They won Le Mans one year in 1957 with a couple of American drivers. A little bit of useless information for you there. And one of them was called Carroll Shelby. Anyway, so my father would bring home these exotic cars in the 50s when I was a kid. And so I was always into cars. And then when he left Aston Martins, he was still a panel fitter, and he would repair bodywork on cars. And he always would buy we were in London, and he would buy left-hand drive like Lancias or Alfa Romeo, some exotic stuff like that, because left-hand drive cars didn't sort of sell very well in England. So I learned to drive on the other side of the road, which would be this right side of the road over here, on exotic Italian cars. So yeah, I grew up with that in my blood, and Corvettes always seemed pretty exotic to me as well, which they are, of course.
Did he ever bring home a Lamborghini?
A what?
A Lamborghini.
Yeah, I've owned a couple of Lamborghinis. I had when we left Savoy Brown, it was the first time I actually got paid £4,000, which was actually quite a lot of money at the time. Prior to that, we never got any kind of bonus or money, but it was because we were earning so much money they had to pay us. Anyway, I'd been out of work for about a year. I found a Lamborghini 350 GT 1964 or 65. I think it was a 64 with a 4-liter engine, V12s, 5-speed gearbox, and I found it for £1,230, and that car's worth about $1.5 million to $2 million today. But yeah, I had that Lamborghini. Then I bought in 1977. I bought a Lamborghini Miura SB over here. I paid £17,000 for that, and that's worth about $3 million today. So I should have really kept them, but That was then. Yes, I got to drive exotic cars. I have a sensible car now. You want to know what that is?
Yes.
Of course you do. You want to know, don't you? Actually, it's an Audi 5S. So,
oh, okay, nice car.
it's like a supercharged 3-liter V6. It has a governor on it. It will only do 155. They road tested them at over 170 miles an hour. I didn't, so, but it's sensible, all-wheel drive, and it's a convertible. I've only ever had convertibles. I used to have a Jensen Interceptor convertible as well. That would have had a Chrysler 440 engine in it, and the body was designed in Italy, and it was built in England, so it was sort of somewhat of a hybrid, but it was a fantastic car. Anybody who's a car fan would know about that. And I had a couple of friends out here on Long Island breathe on the engine because it was a Chrysler, so that was a lot of fun.
So you got a hybrid car, eh? That's a unique one.
Well, no, a hybrid by meaning it was designed in Italy, built in England, and had American transmission and engine. That's what I meant by hybrid.
That's what I was meaning. Like, hey, yeah.
Hybrids over here are ones that can be electric and gas, I think is the term now, isn't it? A hybrid?
Yeah.
Right, that's right. Do you drive at the moment?
No.
No?
No.
I started learning to drive when I was 10. Thanks, Dad.
I'm just afraid I might crash the car into a tree or something.
Well, no, that's why you learn to drive in parking lots when nobody else is around, and and your father or your mum will probably tell you how to show you how to do it. It's important and to have an understanding of what the car does and how it functions. I've been real fortunate. I haven't had any accidents, so no, not that were my fault anyway.
No, I know you guys fell apart with a different lineup. How did you hold up to the name Foghat? How did you hold on to it?
Because I was in the band right at the very beginning. I booked the studios when we first got our record deal with Bearsville Records in 1971, 72. They sent money to my bank account, and I booked the studio time. We were all, the band originally were all partners in the band, but that changed. I was always there. It was a little tricky from time to time because being lots of musicians don't always take care of their business. You rely on your manager for that, or supposed to. But I don't have a relationship with our original manager. Thieving piece of shit, excuse me. But we were good friends for about the first 4 or 5 years. That's why he was in the band, and he did sort of get us our first record deal. So, but sometimes, fame and fortune can move people in different directions. I was always good friends with Dave, who passed away. We had some issues like brothers sometimes do, but we remained good friends, and eventually we got back together after he came back from England. I've always been a band.
And there was 2 Foghats going on at one time before. What was that like?
Weird. Lonesome Dave, our singer, left the band in 1974 and moved back to England, and I carried on playing with the band. We just got a new singer. We had 2 or 3 new singers actually, and then Dave came back because he couldn't earn a living in England, and he started a band. I did in fact go and see him and said, why don't you put the original band back together? But eventually he saw the light, and we put the original band back together.
Do you regret the musical changes you made in Stone Blue?
Say that again.
Do you regret the musical changes you made in Stone Blue?
I don't understand the question.
Do you regret the musical changes that you made in Stone Blue?
I what I'm saying is, why would I regret the musical changes? Stone Blue is a great record.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's I just wondered where you got that from. Stone Blue was a very successful album, and the song is like very popular even to this day.
I know you toured with Jay Gills a lot. Was he ever in the band when you played with him?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I know you toured with Jay Gills a lot.
Jay Giles.
Oh, Giles. I'm sorry, man.
That's all right. Jay Giles was a great guitar player. Yeah.
A lot when he was ever in the band, or when you ever played with him.
When we first came to the States as Foghat in 1972-73, we would open up. We would play anywhere and for anybody, but we started opening up for the Jay Giles band. We also started opening up for Humble Pie, and those two are probably my two favorite bands. Jay Giles band was an incredible band. Jay Giles was the lead guitar player. Peter Wolf was a singer. Jay died, I believe it was 5 years ago. Peter is still with us, but they were probably one of the best American rock and roll, blues, soul bands ever. And live, they were absolutely incredible.
Tell me about playing with Kiss.
With Kiss?
Yeah. How's that?
We only did a couple of shows. It was right at the very beginning of their career. And most of the time, the stage was an absolute mess after they played because they were opening up for us. But really decent people, good people. I've met them. Haven't seen them in a lifetime, it seems, but they seemed really decent people.
Who has been your favorite band to tour with? I know you toured with many famous people. What has probably been your most best?
I think I just mentioned it. Jay Giles and Humble Pie, early days, were my favorite bands to play with. Now, probably George Thorogood, I love playing with. Great band. I get up and play maracas with them because I can. George Thorogood now is a lot of fun to play with. We have some shows coming up with ZZ Top. They're also were always one of my favorite bands. Who else? Yeah.
Who has been the worst? Do you have any worst?
No. No, don't think there were any worst bands that we traveled with. There was once or twice when we had some issues, like some bands back in the 70s would like try and restrict your use of sound and lights for some reason, but other than that, no, I had very few issues with other bands. We always got on really well with them. Actually, Cheap Trick is another great band that I love touring with. They're always a lot of fun to play with. Really cool guys, great band, great sounding band too. And Blue Oyster Cult is another band that we've done lots of dates with. We're real good friends with them as well. No, I've never really had a problem. I'm not the sort of person you need to have a problem with.
I've interviewed Blue Oyster Cult. They're really nice people.
They are really nice people, and they're a great band. I'm good friends with their drummer, their current drummer, and no, the band is great.
Yeah,
and great band. Really interesting music. They come from a different inspiration other than what Foghat is. So it's a lot of fun. In fact, we have some dates coming up with them this summer.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What fans can you expect with the new singer Scott Holt?
What do I say that again?
What can fans expect with the new singer Scott Holt?
Well, actually, I met Scott 2014, I think, and we did an album. Well, actually, we were writing some songs for our last studio album, Under the Influence, and Scott Holt was down at our studio with us because we were about 3 songs short of an album. And instead of writing 3, we wrote 17 songs together. And also Scott Holt sang on 3 songs on our last studio album. He also played guitar on 7 of the songs. And he's a fantastic guitar player. He played with Buddy Guy. Hold on. Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
Damn right, the man's got the blues.
Yeah.
So you know he can play. He's a fantastic, very soulful singer. He's a beautiful human being. Has an incredibly good sense of humor, and he had some big boots to fill, but he's a lot of fun to play with. And like I said, we've already started working on a new album. They can expect to have a good time. We will boogie their boot heels and sneakers away. And I really enjoy playing with Scott. It's a lot of fun.
How did you pick it?
We were looking for. We just became. It was a photographer who introduced me to him, and I just started hanging out with him and talking, and I invited him to come down to our studio in 2014 or 15. You know, just to jam with myself and Brian, and that's how it didn't really pick him. Our last lead singer, Charlie Hune, sent our manager an email 2 days before we were due to start rehearsals for the tour this year, that he was retiring. So Scott and I were working on some tunes in the studio, and I said, "You want to sing in the band?" And he said, he looked like a deer in the headlights at the moment. To learn, in an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours of new Foghat songs, and learn the guitar parts, the arrangements, and all the lyrics. It's quite a daunting task, but he said he would love to do it. He said, "Let me talk to my wife first." Because basically it would mean he would be away a lot, and especially like he would be locked up in the studio with us down in Florida for at least a week to 6 months, 6 weeks, just trying to get it right. And it actually turned out great. It's a lot of fun playing with him.
You guys are still playing a ton of shows. What is life like on the road for you?
Excuse me. I have to turn my fucking phone off. It's going fucking nuts in my ear. What? My phone's fucking. It's right up there. Something going on? No, it's just all these emails and it's like. I think should turn it off. Jarrett, I have Bluetooth in my ears, and my phone's ringing in my ears, and people are sending me emails, and it was a little difficult. Now I'm back now. I just turned the phone off.
Okay, all right.
I had divided attention.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. Are you all right? You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you guys are still playing a ton of shows. What is life like on the road for you?
What is life like? What?
On the road for you, because since you're playing tons of shows, what is it like?
It's okay. They treat us like princes. We always stay in nice hotels. People want to give you presents, take you out to dinner. Like I said earlier, it's all hurry up and wait. Traveling and traveling and traveling. The only thing that I really enjoy is that hour and a half each night on stage. That's what makes it all worthwhile. The rest of it is like hurry up and wait. Though I do have friends in various parts of the country, so if we have a day off, that part can be cool. I can go fishing or hang out with some friends and stuff like that, or go out and jam somewhere. But it's all about that hour and a half each night. The rest of it is just work.
How is it different now when you first started out?
I'm a lot older. Maybe a little bit wiser. Maybe.
In your heyday, what was on Foghat's tour rider?
What was Foghat? Sorry, tour rider.
Yeah.
Similar to now, a case of champagne, a bottle of cognac, a bottle of vodka, a bottle of Jack Daniels, a couple of cases of beer, as much food as we want, and plives. We get taken care of. It's all our needs are addressed. Like I said, we get treated like we're a bunch of little princes. We don't act that way, but we get treated very well. So life is good.
Yeah, hey man, that's good. Got a little servant, eh? Oh, what is on your rider now?
Champagne, French vodka, cognac, Jack Daniels, beer, and sodas, lots of water. And we get breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I would love to be on one of those things. Just sounds nice.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you ever get tired of hearing Slow Ride?
No, I love hearing it on the radio. And I never get tired of playing it either. I enjoy playing. One of the things, like I said earlier, with this band never, we always produce our own records. We work with a producer, but basically a producer's job is to be the fifth member of the band. But the band always did the songs that we wanted to do. Lonesome Dave was originally our main songwriter, but the band always arranged songs and was always agreed on what was working or what wasn't. And so I think any band who's, we did the songs we wanted to do. We did them how we wanted to do it. And by that, if we weren't successful, then we had to sort of shoulder that. And if we were successful, then it was also our fault. And in fact, that's the same way we take care of business today. We still record. It usually takes us 2 or 3 years before we put a new album out. But that's because, as artists, you want to carry on playing and be creative. We're not selling 10 million albums like we used to. We sell 15, 20, 25,000 records.
Hey man, 25,000, that's still good. Am I right though?
Yes, it's right.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory from playing a show?
From what?
From playing a show. What is your favorite memory?
I don't have a particularly favorite memory. Like I said earlier, I really enjoy going out and playing, and I still get chills when curtain goes up and people start cheering. Yeah, I have no particular favorite memory. I've been very fortunate playing. There was probably, if there was a particular show that I'm proud of, was in 1977. We played at what's called the Palladium in New York City, and it was Foghat's tribute to the blues, and we got to play with. We were the house band for our musical heroes. John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters, Paul Butterfield, Eddie Bluesman Kirkland, Johnny Winter. And that was probably a highlight of my career. And that was recorded and filmed, but Warner Brothers, in their infinite wisdom, haven't decided to release it yet. But that's another story.
Do you have any worst, or no? You've just been very lucky.
No, anything that ever happened, usually that was because, the plane broke down, the car broke down, the bus broke down. But, that's just life.
Yeah, right. So, like I said earlier, so you're playing near me in North Tarawanda. I would love to bring my grandparents and come and meet you and see you guys rock out.
That would be fine. I would really enjoy that. So you have to call the office. You can probably get in touch with us through John.
Okay.
Lappin, right? You know John Lappin, right?
Yeah.
And call to Rose.
Yeah, you can email us.
Yeah, you can email Rose.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. We'll take care of you.
All right, thanks, man. I really do appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure actually talking to you. Are you what are your you're going to come with your grandparents, right?
Yes.
Good. I'll look forward to meeting you. That'll be fun. We do sound check in the afternoon about 4 o'clock. When is showtime? Do you remember? Just email the names that you want on there and we'll take care of you. No problem.
Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that with all of my heart.
We'll keep you away from the hard liquor. What? We go on at 8 o'clock. And there's another band on called Head East, which we've done lots of dates with. Really excellent band. They go on at 7. They have an hour set. We probably go on about 8:15, something like that.
Okay.
So
Thanks, man.
yeah, email them and send the names you want on the guest list, and we'll take care of you.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Really. Oh my God, that would be so much.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, actually, and I think you'll go a long way. You'll have to figure out some way that you can earn a living by talking to old people like myself, but
You're not old, man.
I'm sure you'll figure it out when the time comes. And good luck with your playing as well.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. How do my followers follow you?
I've lost the sound. I've lost I don't hear you.
How do my followers follow you? Can you hear me?
No, you're too far away. You can't shout.
Oh, okay.
You've disappeared. Say goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Send the email.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye.